James is an independent options trader specializing in zero DTE strategies. He spent the previous 20 years in the recruiting industry, a hell of a content creator who strives to make business content not totally suck. A well-published writer with 6 flash fiction stories.
What's the difference between writing fiction and options trading though, Jared?
Oh, well, you make money with one.
One of them makes money, the other one is a time sucker. You never make anything. He was a really interesting dude. He was like a senior VP. He's like, I like to reinvent myself every 8 years and just do something completely different I haven't done before. And that always kind of stuck with me. But you shouldn't be afraid of kind of making jumps.
Zero DTE options. Why don't you break that down, what that actually means?
Whenever you make a trade, you have to put money up to make that trade. You can reuse that $1,000 the next day, and the next day, and the next day, as opposed to a 30-day trade. It's tied up for 30 days.
Again, it starts with the top. Obviously, you were at the top of the company. If you're not creating content, or other people on the leadership team are not, why would anybody below take that initiative to do it?
If it's not like someone at the top is actually leading the way and by example, then no one else can do it. Content at its easiest form, stuff that actually answers questions and solve problems, really comes down to answering questions that real people have.
Life's a Pitch is a podcast where we talk about all the shit that actually happens when you're building a business, leading people, and just trying to live your damn life all at the same time. What is up? I am your host, Jared Gibson, and I am here today with my buddy James Hornick. James is an independent options trader specializing in systematic zero DTE strategies. He spent the previous 20 years in the recruiting industry, most recently as chief growth officer at a Chicago-based company called Hirewell. James is a hell of a content creator who strives to make business content not totally suck, which is very true. Well-published writer with 6 flash fiction stories in the sci-fi and satire genres. He can squat over 500 pounds. I don't know. Okay. Still, you can still squat 500 pounds?
All right. I still could. I don't try it anymore, though, is the problem. It's just like I'm getting too old. But I did that like a year and a half ago. I know I could still do it. It's just whether I want to put myself at risk of it. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
I still have the strength. Anyways.
Good. I'm glad. Good to hear that. Glad to hear that. All right.
Still got it.
But even more importantly, he co-hosts the Business is Bullshit podcast with yours truly and our friend John Sarakis, and is the one that keeps us in check and keeps us on track. As hard as we all try to not get John canceled, that's James's job to make sure that John doesn't say something stupid.
Yeah, and in our warm-up here, you were saying this whole hosting thing's way harder than you realize until you had to start doing it.
I'm telling you, like a few in, and I realized like just showing up for our podcast and then like in hosting are 2 completely different things.
Yeah,
there's actually responsibilities.
Just showing up and just chiming in whenever you want to, that's the easy part. It's actually like trying to organize it in a way that actually makes some sort of sense for everybody. It's the tough part.
Yeah, for sure, anyways, dude.
But it'll make you a better person.
I want to talk about the massive pivot you made recently in your career.
Sure.
I mean, you were a big TV star in Chicago.
Yeah, I was.
Good Day Chicago Five Timers Club.
Five Timers Club. Just like it's like the SNL Five Timers Club, but better.
Yeah, 10 times better. Why give up the fame for derivatives trading, James?
Just we'll go for some new fame. Long story. I can't believe I was in recruiting as long as I was, to be honest.
20 years is a fucking eternity.
Yeah. And when I look back at it, people ask me why I stayed at Hirewell for as long as I did. And it's because I had 4, maybe 5 different jobs there. It was kind of the first thing. Like most people I talked to, I was a tech recruiter for 10 years. I was good at it. But the first half the time I was there was one job. And I was at the point doing that where I'm like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. But then like opportunity fell in my lap. Old contact reached out. This is like right when digital marketing first started taking off. Like it's so commonplace now, but rewind the clock 10 years, most companies had never hired a digital marketer. And we were able to build a whole new practice around that because we helped one company hire 30 people in the course of like a year, then helped 2 other companies do the same thing. And it was cool. And just like getting to talk to different people, learn new skill sets, like it was kind of a breath of fresh air and kind of kept me in the business. And then from talking to those people constantly, I'm like, why aren't we doing this marketing? And that's how we got into content, and that's all of a sudden when I started. I had some writing background before that. I did some comedy blogging and whatnot. But then I realized I can take that experience and apply it to like kind of what in content for the company. And next thing I'm an actual marketer running a team in a new division. And then I start doing more. I had always done some sales, but then I focused entirely on sales. And then I started kind of building out more processes. So it's like, it just kind of kept evolving the last 10 years, especially. So, that was why I was in it for as long as I did. But to your point, like at some point, I talked to a guy, this might have been, again, a long time ago, and he was a really interesting dude. He was like a senior VP of digital at a place, but his work previous to that was completely different. And he said to me one time, he's like, I like to reinvent myself every 8 years and just do something completely different I haven't done before. And that always kind of stuck with me because I always thought people who like career pivoted and did different things, like you're starting from the bottom and you'll never get to that same level. But like, this is a guy that was like the number 2 person in his company and he had no problem like. And it made me kind of think differently about like, well, you shouldn't be afraid of kind of making jumps. And that's why I guess internally at Hirewell, I didn't care about like, giving up whatever credit, whatever network I had within the tech realm to go this other realm. And then giving up kind of this skill set to do something new to like, I didn't know if content marketing was going to work when I first started it, and it turned out well, but that's kind of the same thing now. It's like, I finally hit a point where I've actually been trading for over 10 years now. This isn't a new thing. And I think that's what people think. People who didn't know me well probably had no idea that I had actually been doing this behind the scenes as like my hobby for a long time. And it finally kind of percolated to a point where I realized I could do it professionally and make it my full-time gig, which kind of had always been what I wanted to do. It's just a lot of things kind of fell in place all at the last minute where it's just like time's now. So
would you say that you have a passion for it, James?
A passion. What Jared's referencing is the hard disagreement we had in one of our podcasts about how I say following your passions is bullshit advice. No, actually, I will prove this to you why following your passions. I have another passion.
All right.
I am just as passionate about writing fiction. What's the difference between writing fiction and options trading, though, Jared? One of those things
make money with one.
One of them makes money. The other one is a fucking time suck. You never make anything. So. Yeah.
You know what though? I want to go back to something you talked about, like with Hirewell. That I think that the model that you put in place over there, by really turning the entire company into content creators, as opposed to like obviously we work with CEOs and founders, but we do have a few clients that will say, "Hey, I want to bring in my team because I think that the more places we can show up, the better for the company." But you put that in place very early on over at Hirewell. Why did you do that? Like, what you saw the value early on, obviously, but then two, like, how did you make sure to stay consistent with that in the team, making sure that they're just continuing to post and put content out?
I think the why we did it was we had people that were interested. So there was people who wanted to do it. We weren't sure where it was gonna stick, like who was going to continue with it, But when you have people that want to do something, you don't want to tell them no. Like if you had 5 or 6 people that want to start doing content, like sure. Like we had very much, especially at that point in time, that was like the heart of the pandemic. It was like a say yes to anything. Let's just kind of get this thing going. There was one other company, I don't even know if they're still around anymore, that weren't in our industry, but they were somewhere else where they did something similar where they had a bunch of shows or different kind of things where like, we should just kind of copy that, and why not? So we're like, that's kind of a model for us to try to follow. Just the idea of like, hey, in our minds, we're going to build a content network, which, I mean, okay, it wasn't quite that good, right? But it kind of short of that. It was still, why not just throw as many people who are interested in the problem and see how it works? And luckily, we were able to keep that going. To answer, I guess, your question, the way we kept that going was we would have meetings every other week of really anyone who was interested. It's like a brainstorm, because I think that content at its easiest form, good content, not like bullshit people put out there where they're just like saying platitudes and it's recycling the same garbage, but like stuff that actually answers questions and solve problems, really comes down to answering questions that real people have. And the way we would do that is we get people together in a room or just in a Zoom meeting, whatever, and brainstorm. Okay, what questions did your clients ask you? Did HR contacts ask you? Did candidates ask you? Like that you answered, right? What were those questions? What was your answer? And then we kind of brainstormed on that further, because if one person has that question, someone else does. Like it's not like same people have the same questions, and I don't care what your skill set is. If you're a recruiter, if you're a salesperson, whatever, and you talk to other recruiters or salespeople, whoever, like you all know the same things, so you take things for granted that it's common sense when it's not. And anybody who isn't you in your clique probably has no idea what the hell you do or what you're talking about, but they're interested. So that's how you pull apart the things that are going to be interesting to other people versus going to be just not. So
yeah, I mean, that's great. It's literally the playbook that all companies should be doing. But again, it starts with the top. Like I feel that if you is somebody, which obviously you were at the top of the company, if you're not creating content or other people on the leadership team are not, why would anybody below take that initiative to do it?
That's what people have asked me over the years. Like, how do you, like, hey, can you talk to our marketing guy about how to do this? I'm like, no, because like your marketing guy should want to do this. But like, if it's not like someone at the top is actually leading the way and by example, then no one else is going to do it. You know, like if maybe some people would have done it a little bit on their own had I not been, but it wasn't like it was an organizational priority, and it can't be an organizational priority if it's not like someone on the leadership team. It doesn't have to be the whole leadership team, but at least one person. So
yep. All right, let's shift. I want to shift into what you're doing today. For someone hearing zero DTE options for the first time. Why don't you break that down, what that actually means? It's not the first time I've heard it, obviously, because I know you. But this breakdown is going to help me as much as it's going to help anybody that's never heard of it before.
Okay, so it's zero DTE is just a time domain. So it's you could do things 45 days to expiration, 90 days to expiration, 2 years to expiration. It's just kind of one day to make you do it. I don't do zero DTE exclusively, but I'd say it's probably 2/3 of my trading, and it's really what allows you to make big enough returns where you can quit your job and just do this, right? So that's kind of the difference, right? The first thing I have to say is everything I do is systematic and quantitative. And that's a fancy way of saying I have backtesting software, I study data, I don't follow trends like charts, but I actually crunch numbers to see like what repeatable strategies can you do that make money consistently over time. Like if in the betting world, what bets can you make that you're going to win more often than not, and you can totally do that with the options. Yeah. I don't know if I need to go down that rabbit hole how, but once you figure those things out, then you can systematize it, meaning you can make the software do the trading for you. So like today was a trading day. I spend my trading days doing more research or frankly talking to other contacts and meeting other traders and whatnot. I don't spend my trading day actually pushing buttons and making trades because my bots do that for me. So that's what systematic means. Like I have a process, I have a formula, and it's so set in stone that I can just have the bots execute things for me. So it eliminates, like there's no fat finger errors, there's no panic involved, like the market crashes. I already counted for that with my back test. Like I know what's going to happen if the market crashes with my portfolio or if it shoots up. It's very much just a quantitative approach. So I like that because I don't like having it. I don't know what the market's going to do. No one knows what the market's going to do. And I don't like my entire trading being based upon the market going up. Long story short. Okay. You still with me or am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm following. I'm tracking.
Okay. So I can talk about this till I'm blue in the face. Now, the thing that's different about zero DTE options and why that's kind of a necessary part of being able to do what I'm doing. One, when you're selling options, it's like when you're selling insurance or when you're the house at the casino, like you have positive expected value because there's a little bit of edge in what's called volatility risk premium. Don't need to know what that is. But long story short, most of that in the last day of expiration is when you can cash in the most. There's the most money in that last day because of the uncertainty in the markets. It's the richest day there is for selling options. And then the second part is whenever you make a trade, you have to put money up to make that trade. So if I want to put up $1,000 to make a trade for a 30-day option versus $1,000 in a 0-day option, actually, I'll quiz you. What's the difference there? Why is there advantage in putting up $1,000 for 0 days versus 30 days?
0 days versus 30 days. 0 days seems more immediate. Where 30 days, you've got immediate and there's more risk. Right?
Yes.
30 days, there's more time to study and see exactly what's happening.
Yes. You are correct. I'll give you the final answer though.
Kind of.
The thing out, you can reuse that $1,000 the next day and the next day and the next day, as opposed to a 30-day trade. It's tied up for 30 days. So you can make 30 with the same capital, you can make 30 times as many trades by doing 0-day options. So that's kind of the bigger thing, when the most money comes out the last day, and then you don't have to, you can keep recycling your buying power and recycling your capital you're using on a more frequent basis. That's how you're able to then it becomes making more trades, large numbers, and that's how you can get enough edge to make a living. So.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that I completely butchered that answer. But in my head, it made sense.
It made you were half right. You didn't hit the key thing, but you weren't so wrong that I felt the need to beat you over the head with it. So,
all right, that'll work. All right, that was good. That was a very, very good, thorough breakdown. So I appreciate you, and I know that you've got a Substack that we'll talk about at the end that kind of walks people like me through a lot of this stuff. So we can hit on that in a little bit. Let's shift it a little bit. I want to talk about right now your day, because your day has got to be very different than most people's days, given the fact that you kind of don't have a corporate job anymore. You've had that for 20 years. What's your day look like today, an average day? And then right now, what in your world are challenges that you're having? Something that I hate the question, keeps you up at night, but something that you always are thinking about.
The biggest challenge when it comes to just the actual everyday trading, I mentioned back testing before. So back testing is kind of using the historical options data to determine patterns and things like that. The challenge is that, past, things that happened in the past aren't going to happen the same way in the future. So you can make some very good estimations but it's trying to estimate how much the future is going to deviate from what you've done previously. So you can come up with a trading plan that's going to have positive expected value, but it's never going to work exactly how you think it is. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is figuring out, okay, so I have to, if this trade makes $100 this year, I'm pretty sure it's going to make money next year, but is it $100? Is it $50? Is it $20? Is it $150? You know what I mean? You have to kind of plan for things not working out quite the same way they had in the past. I would say that's the biggest thing, because again, this is also something you're doing for a living. So you're trying to predict what your income is. You're trying to predict what your returns are going to be. And you have to kind of just lowball, what the data tells you. And you hope that lowball is correct.
So day to day for you right now,
day to day.
No, you're fine. Day to day, is it I just picture you in a dark room just crunching numbers, or do you just let the bots do all that shit? What are you doing throughout the day?
So the bots do the live trading. I would say I have. So this actually ties back to business. So I think what I've done really well that most traders don't, is because I come from a sales and marketing background, is I've been able to build a lot of relationships with other traders in a very short amount of time. To the point where there's a few of us, we have our little community where we share ideas and testing ideas. And that I believe that the biggest advantage that prop firms, the actual trading firms, have over regular people isn't necessarily the technology. It's the fact they have a bunch of people rowing together in the same direction and collaborating. And I've been able to recreate that to an extent. But part of that is I'm always meeting new people, meeting new traders, talking to people, sharing ideas both ways. So that takes up a good amount of time. The back testing thing, kind of using the back testing software, takes a good amount of time. My buddy's one of my trading friends, a data scientist at Apple. He's actually created some apps that kind of help us with portfolio analysis. So I can see if I put this trade in, take this trade out of the portfolio of trades, how that affects things. So I would say that's probably most of the day there, but it's also, I'm doing the writing on Substack because I enjoy it, but it's also reminding myself not to burn out, because, this is not, if there's ever a profession where it's it's more important to bring your A game for half the day versus trying to struggle through the day because you're just not feeling it. This is a home run for that kind of mindset, because days where you're sitting in front of your computer and your brain isn't working properly, you're not doing any useful intellectual work in those days. So just go to the gym or do something else. So
yeah. All right, let's switch it up. I'm gonna ask you a question just about learnings throughout your career. Sure. What's the one lesson that you've taught others in either life or work that you wish more that you really want more people to hear?
Should I go back on? You've probably heard me rant on this a bunch. Is this writing skills? I think that it's people roll their eyes at the need to be good writers because it sucks and it's boring, and AI can do that for me. But the problem is that you can't be a good thought organizer unless you write things down. And like the only way you can present well in front of people, the only way you can actually get your point across, the only way you can refine what your company talking points are, what your marketing deck should look, you have to put things on paper. That way you force yourself to think through them. And that's why I've always been a big proponent of writing. Like most salespeople, the reason why emails suck is because everyone's bad writers. You know, the reason why people suck in front of people is because they never articulated their thoughts in a way that makes sense. You can't overcome objections because you never thought long enough about, okay, what's the client's what's their problem? How do I answer that? And you get better at all these things by being a better writer. Simple as that. Like AI can write this stuff for you, but you're not going to know it by heart and be able to do it in the moment unless you're doing it yourself.
Well, I mean, I agree with you because being in sales, especially, like the importance that writing has been, like in all different types of writing, from content to just writing an email, like responding back, writing an email, like understanding what you're supposed to do and how to write an email. A lot of that today has been completely taken away.
Yeah.
Like that talent. Like a salesperson, any salesperson could literally just say something into an app and then it'll spit back out like the follow-up email. So the writing aspect of it, I think the learning is just not there anymore. Oh, maybe I'm off with that, but you're more of a long-form writer. So is that how you practice and ultimately turn that into your sales, strategy?
I take us back to like the content stuff where, so we were talking about how we would do a brainstorm session. We get everyone together. You know, we brainstorm out. Okay, so now we know what our clients' critical challenges are. We've gotten everyone together, and we've also talked about like how we should talk about these as an organization, what the true problem is, and how we can solve them, those kind of things. Then I would actually take my take with that. I get with my buddy Jeff, who we did that 10-minute talent rant with for a long time. We'd hash that out even further. He had a different perspective than I did. Put that into notes. I would usually write like a LinkedIn post about it, and then he and I would record a show. But then after that's all done, something crazy would happen. Every time I would be in client meetings, those exact same points when clients would have issues or challenges, I would be able to, off the top of my head, have these anecdotes, insights, observations spew out of my mouth because I knew them by heart, which had I not gone through this process, had I not collaborated, done writing, and actually committed to working with someone to like, okay, let's actually put our ideas to paper, wouldn't have any of that. Like it made me a way better salesperson because, you know, and I think that's especially true for anyone who's in more of a consultative sales process, you know, like if you're selling really basic shit, but if you're doing anything relatively complex, like you have to be able to know and exude the confidence that you know what you're talking about, and the way to do that is to know what the fuck you're talking about. Yep. And writing makes you smarter, period. Like organizing your thoughts, thinking through issues makes you a smarter person, and if you stop doing that, then you're gonna be an idiot.
All right. I don't know, I write emails, I write content. The way that I create my content, I think we've talked about this before, is that I will literally I'll speak it into, I use whisper flow. I'll speak what I want to talk about. I'll go in and then I'll reorganize it to make sure that it's right. And then I will literally ask ChatGPT like to clean anything up here that doesn't look right.
I don't have a problem with it. I use whisper flow too. I don't think it's the method of like how the input's done. I mean, there are people who used to think like typing was cheating, like you had to actually physically use a paper and pencil to write things down. Like,
show your work. And show your work.
Yeah, it's still the same process, but it still has to come from you. So when I use whisper flow is probably it's an app I use a lot. Like when I start a brainstorm, when I write my blog now, here's what I do. I whisper flow a brain dump of thoughts into Claude. I ask Claude to organize those thoughts and tell me what I missed or what things I should do. And then it provides an outline that makes sense. I tell it to reorder things. I tell it maybe specific things I want to say. But then I take those notes with a few key things, and then I write from there. So I still do all the writing. Everything comes out of its mind. But using voice dictation and then AI to organize things definitely shortcuts the amount of time you need to get to get you to the point where the final copy of it, because it's still me writing it, like takes less time than it used to.
Yeah, that's good. Whisperflow is such a great tool. I would say that's my software that I can't go without today. I speak most of the stuff.
You gave me a heads up. That was me a question. That's probably one for me too. Aside from like the tools I used for my job, like my automation software, my back testing, Whisperflow is probably my number one tool that just shortcuts a lot of things.
All right. Well, we can skip that question when we get to the extra innings, James. right. Hey, what's something that I have a feeling I already know what the answer to this is, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What's something that you love talking about that drives everyone else in your world crazy? Like, what drives your wife crazy when you talk about it with her?
Well, either trading or television, you know what I mean? So it's one or the
Yeah.
other. So, like, trading is the easy one. We already feel like you and I talked that to death, and thank you for humoring me and pretending to be interested.
I was.
I think people are interested to an extent, and then they get lost. Unless they really want to get into themselves. I think when it comes to television, like because I enjoy fiction and writing and movies and stuff like that, we'll argue over TV shows, and I'll take a big fat shit over people's favorite TV shows because they're poorly written. Like
you do take
Taylor
massive
Sheridan
dumps on shows
sucks.
that I
I'm
love.
sorry, it's the same fucking show in 5 different settings. He's a one-trick pony. It's not. I love the first season of Yellowstone because the first season of Yellowstone was new and unique, and then every other show he's done is the same exact format rehashed. It's so lazy.
It's great. He's like the problem is you dig so much into it, like a show like Lioness. I think Lioness is a great show. I think that's his best show out of all the ones that he's done. But it is true for anybody that's listening, maybe one or two people, is that on our text chain, I say, "Hey guys, watch this show." And you just fucking rip it apart. And you tell me all the reasons why this show sucks. I'm like, oh, yeah. So I actually think about the stuff you say, and I'm like, that makes sense. I remember that scene he's talking about. That was garbage.
There's too many coincidences. Like, I think the problem is with a lot of shows out there is this sounds very counterintuitive. And I'm a huge Kurt Vonnegut fan, and he like his rules of writing, which I think I sent you this week. And one of them is like, you have to make your main characters suffer. Like, they have to really be going through, because that's how you find out what they're made of. That's how they overcome the obstacle. And like a lot of shows where the hero is so invincible and is never fazed by anything. Like, yeah, it's cool for a minute, but it's also forgettable, you know? Like, the best shows are when they get, you know, even like John Wick, like he gets put through the ringer every goddamn movie he's in, you know what I mean? And he's someone who does suffer, but then comes out of it. If he was never getting shot, never had his puppy die, nothing ever went wrong, that'd be the most boring movie ever, you know? It's the fact that like he actually has challenges he has to try to find a way to overcome is what makes it good movies.
I think I've only seen the first one.
First one's the best by far. First one easily. The second and third one are kind of rehashes of each other. They go downhill, but I think they got the fourth one right. So
I was talking to John about this Black Rabbit. So I assume you like Black Rabbit then.
I didn't see it yet. No, not yet.
All right, because exactly what you described is like the hero, the main character, like goes through shit, like both of them. So yeah, I'll shut up. We talked about it a little bit on the last podcast. I won't bring it up again. All right, we're gonna go into extra innings, which is my fun way of saying rapid fire questions at the end. You've already kind of hit on one of them, so if you have a number 2, then I'll ask you for it. But all right, ready to go? Here we go. All right, what is the last thing that genuinely scared you?
I almost got hit by a car a few weeks ago. Forgot to tell you guys that.
What?
I was walking across an intersection and someone was coming down Augusta, and like it was like that time of day where they probably couldn't see because the sun was blinding them, and they were flying to take a turn, and then he sees me at the last minute, and then his car's like screeching to like a stop. Yeah, it was slightly terrifying. That could have been it right there.
Well, I'm glad that you're still here.
Yeah, thank you,
James, because I don't know who else would carry the Business of Bullshit podcast.
Yeah, I know.
All right, that's 1. 2, you already talked about the one tool that you need every day that you work with every day is WhisperFlow. Give me a number 2.
I don't use this as much, but Text Expander is super low tech. Not even like a hard one to do, but you can basically, if there's things that you write repeatedly, like can't wait to see ya, or have a great weekend, or even like small things, or like you always see I always do this bullet points on my LinkedIn post. It's always the same kind of like left hand thing. If you program in like 3 keystrokes that are unique, and it just pumps out whatever kind of text you want. So if there's a lot of business emails, not to make things bland, but you know, like your signature might always be the same, or you know, very small stuff. That way you're it's quicker than like hitting like a template button to whatever. You just like 3 keystrokes and you're in. So.
All right, like that one. Yeah. What's a truth about business you didn't believe in until you lived it?
Private equity will wreck your company every time.
Oh, goddamn. You're just opening up that Pandora's box.
There's no exception.
All right,
continue.
But But I mean, you got to give me a follow-up line to that. Why?
I mean, it's one. I think that the amount of times that you can say this about any merger and acquisition situation. Every time I've talked to someone over the years about a merger and acquisition, they're like, "I think things are going to be good. Like they're saying all the right things. Like the culture is going to stay the same." And then you check in with them like 6 to 9 months later, like, "Yeah, it's all fucked. Everything like 100% hit rate on that. Like it just there's no exception to that." And you throw private equity into the bus because it's always kind of one of those merger and acquisition situations with those guys. But
okay.
Yeah,
all right,
I've yet to talk to anyone who's like, "Hey, we had a merger, it went great."
We're not going down this rabbit hole, but I know a few. But I've been involved with a terrible one. All right, last two, really quick. One person, living, dead, that you want to have a beer with, and why?
I mean, there's only one correct answer for this, and it has to be Jesus, right? Like the amount of questions you could find out about the universe in that conversation, like, is this real? Is this bullshit? Like, it would really solve a lot of humanity's problems, just like definitively getting a lot of answers. And I think I could do that in one conversation.
It'd probably cause a lot of fucking wars too.
Or it might stop a lot of wars.
Yeah.
Just
one of the things that may be the best answer I get to that question. Johns, you'll appreciate this, said David Ogilvy, not Ogilvy. Ogilvy. Yes. All right, last one. First concert, last concert.
First concert I ever went to, I think I had free tickets in like the early 90s to Janet Jackson.
All right.
It wasn't bad. My uncle took me.
Paid for it. It was your allowance money.
I mean, I was like, I don't know, 10 or something like that, so it was pretty cool.
Okay.
My second concert was Lollapalooza 94. That was fucking awesome, by the way. The Beastie Boys were there. That was the first good concert. Last concert, I think I was with you. Where did we go? Who did we see? We saw the Beastie Boys.
Riot Fest.
No. Was that
Was
before
that
or after
Oasis?
Oasis? Yeah.
Let's just go with Oasis, because the Beach Boys were a shell of themselves.
Yeah, they were terrible.
I guess we got to see Dropkick Murphys on the way out, but Oasis was...
Oasis, okay, that front to back, and that was one of the best top 5 concerts I've been to. So if they come back next year, that's the rumor, I'm going.
All right. I'll go with you next year. All right. How do people find you? Get in touch with you?
Still on LinkedIn, so easy to find me there. Just James Hornick's the user handle. You can find me on Twitter there too. It's also James Hornick. I don't use that as much. But 0 Days to Give is my new Substack. So I'm also just James Hornick on Substack. But again, 0 Days to Give, play on 0 days to expiration and 0 fucks to give. That's the big takeaway. So great blog. You're going to love it.
Awesome. Good stuff. All right. That is a wrap for this episode of Life's a Pitch. Big thanks to James for coming on. If you liked it, share it, tell a friend, or just steal something smart that he said, which was really a lot of shit today, and just pretend it was yours. Good luck with that. And remember, behind every strategy, title, or success story, there's chaos, self-doubt, and a whole lot of trial and error. We'll see you next time.